I hope everyone is, yay, thank you, Rosie, I forgot to tell you that. I hope everybody is doing well. And I hope you all are doing what you can do to keep yourselves safe out there. As I always do, I want to reach out and say thank you very much to Ms. Roseanne Hayes Shacklet. I could not do any of this without her. She sets up everything and helps those like me who should be in the technology slow class. But I really appreciate that. And I want to say hello to those that I didn't have a chance to say hi to. I see some more have jumped on, Rod, Billy, some since I was saying my hellos. So please forgive me, John and Robin. So please forgive me if I missed out saying hello to you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the community meeting that I like to have like every quarter, where I have all the different divisions of Metro in so that they can talk to you. Today, we're going to have Commander Stevens, who is always on here with us, that talks to us about what they're doing about the speeding and the crime in the area, and who to report to if you have something that you need to report. We also have George Roker. I see you up there. Hi, George. He is going to talk to you about the new District 33. Since the last time I talked to his department, I understood they made another change, and I'm going to say like the final hours, because I didn't know about that. But they added some more back into District 32. So he is going to be on here to talk to you about what our district looks like now, 33 looks like now, give you some of the boundaries to help you understand what our district entails. We also have he is always on here with us and a good friend, Mr. John Honeysucker, who is here from Solid Waste and New Transportation. I always get those confused. But one of the main things that I want, he is so knowledgeable about a lot of things and shares a lot of things with us. But one thing I want him to discuss mostly is about the trash, because we have those that get trash pickup. We've been having some problems with that. So I want him to talk a little bit about that and who you can call to report if your trash hasn't picked up, and that type of thing, because I don't think we have seen the last of the problems we're going to have with that company that is picking up. So he'll talk a little bit about that and answer some of your questions. I also have Brad Freeze and Dana. Please forgive me, Dana. Dana, are you on here? I was going to say, please forgive me, because I know I'm going to mess her name up. So I'm going to let her introduce herself when she gets on here. She's from NDOT, and so they will talk to you as well. Do I have anybody from the mayor's office that is on here with us today? Or anybody that I need to introduce that I did not? Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Bill
I am
Pinn
going
with the
to
Coast
turn.
Department.
I'm sorry.
Bill Pinn with the Coast Department.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Did they not? Oh, I skipped right over your name. Your name was
That's
the second
all
one
right.
on the list. I am so sorry. I am so sorry.
That's okay.
And is that Miss Dana who has come on now?
Yes, ma'am. How are you today?
I am great, and I didn't want to introduce you and mess your name up. So would you please give your last name?
Yes, it's Diana Alarcon. Thank you very much.
Oh, Diana. See, I messed up the first name too. I am so sorry.
It's all good, ma'am.
So I am going to turn it over to them now. I'm going to ask each presenter if you leave just a little time at the end for questions. Monitor how, because I didn't give you all a time limit, but our meeting runs to 7 o'clock and I have already taken up about 5 minutes of it. Welcome everybody. We will have the police department, Codes department, Metro Planning, Solid Waste, and then NDOT speak. And I will go ahead and let Commander Stevens start it off, and then when he finishes, the rest of you can go. I won't waste time by introducing each one of you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Council Lady Lee, and everybody. Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. I always appreciate the time that I have with District 33. I know it's a quarterly event, and I always try to be here. So thank you for joining. A couple of just things I want to add right off. 10-hour shifts our officers will be transitioning to in a month. What does that mean for us here in the community? It means that we're going to have overlapping shifts with officers. So the day shift is going to overlap with the evening shift. The evening shift is going to overlap the busiest time of the evening. They're going to overlap 2.5 to 3 hours together. So we're going to have more officers on the street. That's what it means for you. What it means for me is hopefully we'll catch up on the calls that we always have pending calls that are going on. It's hard for us to get caught up here at South. There's times when we have 30, 40, or even 50 calls that are waiting in the queue. When the officer gets off of a call, he goes to. Well, the problem with that is that doesn't means we don't have time to go into neighborhoods to do the visibility patrols that we like to do to meet you and your community. So I'm praying that when those shifts happen, we're going to have more officers. You're going to see us more. We'll be able to do more proactive patrols in your neighborhood and really just get to meet you where you are. So that's great news. Drag racing, I always try to bring this up. Drag racing and aggressive driving. Our traffic division has taken over the drag racing initiative. They staff when we get initiatives or get updates that people are going to be drag racing in our city. They'll run an initiative to where they focus on that. We also have our motor officers that are focusing on speeders. That's one complaint that probably everybody in this room, if I were to ask, what's one complaint you have? It's traffic. Would you all pretty much agree with that? So we're doing everything we can to address that. Patrol officers I try to preach every day. If you see an aggressive driver, you see someone driving reckless, stop them. You don't have to always write tickets, but at least find out what's going on. Just this morning in South Nashville over by Hickory Hollow Mall, we had a very terrible crash that happened where a dad was driving way too fast, lost control, flipped his car, and one of his children, a 4-year-old son, died in the crash. They didn't have seat belts. They didn't have car seats. So I preach to all of you, please, if you have children, if you have grandchildren, make sure they're strapped in their car seats. Slow down. That leads to road rage. We have a lot of road rage incidents now. So we ask that if you encounter a subject that's driving aggressive, don't wave, don't give them the middle finger, don't engage at all. If they do try to be aggressive towards you, call 862-8600. We're having incidents where people are flashing guns, where they're shooting at people, all because of a parking spot or an incident that happened on the roadway. So don't engage people that are driving aggressive. I'm going through a lot of points quick here. One thing that I wanted to make sure I know, dealing with homeless, a lot of people have complaints or issues with that in their neighborhoods. Tomorrow night, Point in Time is what it's called. The MMPD is teaming up with social services, mental health providers, and volunteers to go and do head counts in every single homeless encampment in Davidson County. So that should be happening, I believe, tomorrow evening. If you see anybody in your neighborhood or have encampments, very well could be us there or social services trying to get a good head count. It's hard to provide services if we don't know how many people are living in encampments, whatnot. So if you have any concerns regarding that, you could always contact me here at the precinct or Sergeant Zmelovich. We'll call him Sergeant Denny, and his phone number is 615-880-3182. Again, 615-880-3182. With any issues that you have in your neighborhood, if you want an officer to come to an event in your neighborhood, or if you have HOA or whatever, we'll come to that. I'll send the officer, and maybe I could even come too if you invite me. So that's going on. Cameras, we have a lot of theft from motor vehicles going on. Hickory Woods, I believe, is in District 33. I think I'm right on that. They had some great camera footage of some gentlemen that were breaking into cars We were able to get tag numbers on those vehicles. I believe they have license plate readers, at least good cameras when they left there. They have flock cameras. So we were able to track that car down. It turns out it was stolen. But we were able to track it down, get fingerprints out of the car, and hopefully that'll lead to arrest soon. Cameras, 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 they do help police. License plate readers. I'm a huge, huge, huge supporter for license plate readers. If you support that, I'd just say, let Council Lady Lee know, let all the councilmen and councilwomen at large know that you support that, because they're voting on those. And it's just, police can't be everywhere 24/7. These are literally, they can be put on poles, and every tag that comes by, we can get license plate. Could find out if someone has warrants, if there's a stolen car in your neighborhood. It's so helpful. It really is. So from there, guns and cars, already from January 1st to now, 26 days into the new year, we've had 111 guns stolen in Nashville. 111, just because people choose not to lock their guns up. So if you're a gun holder, I ask that you first receive training, make sure that you train with it, make sure that you have a good holster, make sure that you understand what it means to carry. And from there, do not ever leave your gun in your vehicle. People will break into your car. They're looking for guns. They'll use those guns for other crimes. So please make sure that you take your guns in. Any questions for me while I'm here? I threw a lot at you really fast. Does anyone have a question?
I
Yeah,
do.
questions?
Hey,
Yeah.
Billy, and I heard somebody else that I do. I saw Billy's hand. I saw Tawana.
Yeah, Mr. Billy, you got one for me?
Let me get unmuted here.
You
Okay,
good?
Commander Stevens, I'm not sure you're the one I should address this to, so I'll apologize in advance if I'm out of my zone in asking you. But in most of our community meetings concerning rezoning requests, especially for residential areas, the subject of crime is appropriately discussed. And in most cases, it's an automatic assumption that this additional housing is going to create additional crime. I'm not sure I agree with that thinking, but be honest with you, I don't know why I don't agree with it. I just don't know. For example, if the request is for $400,000 homes as opposed to $200,000 homes, will that be acceptable? Because the $200,000 homes may generate more crime. I'd be interested in having your thoughts on that to help us to know what to look for when we're analyzing these rezoning requests, if there is anything we can look for as far as it applies to housing.
Mr. Billy, that's a great question. And I'd be lying if I could tell you just because more people live here, we have more crime. There are so many good people that live in Nashville and South Nashville and District 33. So there's no way to say what limit and how expensive a house could be that we're going to make good people live here. You can't control their children. You can't control who, does that make sense? So I think that's a difficult question. I can tell you in our 69 square miles in South, we have over 160,000 people that live here. That is a lot of people crammed into a small area. We have a lot of apartment complexes. With apartment complexes comes just easy victims because so many people live there. So I don't necessarily think the price of the house is going to be what leads to, are we going to have more crime or not? That's a difficult question, but the more people you have, the more opportunity that you have more victims. I think that's the easiest way to answer your question.
Tawana had her hand up, and then Melissa had her hand up.
Hey,
Good
Tawana,
evening,
how are
Commander.
you?
I'm great. How are you?
It's great to see you. It really is.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Quick question. I'm sort of putting you on the spot. I don't know if you'll know the answer to this. We have fewer officers and our population has grown. And so that means we have fewer, whether it's traffic or patrol or whoever. which is fewer officers per capita to even make the traffic stops. I mean, we wouldn't be asking for more officers if we still had enough. That also means we end up with fewer tickets being written. And I'm kind of curious if you have any information how traffic court is even going with the impact of COVID. Years ago, people talked about getting tickets, and just the fact that they got them and they cost them something was a bit of a deterrent, at least when I was in my youth, it was. And now, I mean, I can't tell you the last time I heard anybody even say they'd gotten a ticket, let alone go to court and get something out of it. So I just wonder if you have any idea what's been the impact on traffic court and what's happening in traffic court and numbers of citations and any of that you have any info on.
Sure. So obviously our whole department mind frame has changed, where with Chief Surpass, it will stop anything that was doing something illegal. Well, that tends to show that we over police certain areas, more people receive tickets. And I think we stopped somewhere around 400,000 cars around between 2005 and those areas. They gradually went up. I can tell you today, we don't stop near those amount of cars. I think COVID did play a role in it. I think our priorities changed too, as far as not over policing neighborhoods, not making a stop because every single tail light was out or a license plate was expired. I think our priorities changed. I think around the country, that was a vocal point. I could tell you the number of officers that we have. We're doing a study now that I sat in on just a couple of weeks back to see how many officers a city our size actually needs to be in patrol to answer calls to keep up with the call volume. Because now the truth of the matter is we can go on our cell phone, go to Hub Nashville, we're receiving dozens and dozens of calls from that. People call dispatch, people call 911. We're receiving calls from emails. I mean, now you can get us, technology is beneficial, but we just don't have enough officers to physically answer all those calls. So the challenge with vehicle stops, as you know, having worked here and all your experience and knowledge, if we're going from call to call to call, we just don't have time to sit in neighborhoods and do the patrols for speeders or for whatever that is. So yeah, the numbers on traffic stops have gone way down. As far as traffic court, we do have traffic court. Believe it or not, I'll tell this because I'm never going to ask my officer. My officer's here to write tickets. I wrote a ticket just a few weeks back for speeding on Murfreesboro Pike. He actually ran a red light first. So to me, I thought, well, I need to stop this guy. And because obviously I don't want him T-boning any of y'all or my family. So I haven't had to go to traffic court on it yet. I know it isn't live in person. So that's not affecting anything, but traffic stop numbers are down. I do believe if we have more time, we will end up being able to do more neighborhood patrols because we do a lot of extra patrols for speeding. A lot of people, that's their number one complaint. So I hope that helps. I know I kind of went around the circle, but I do think having the 10-hour shifts and the overlap is going to allow for more vehicle enforcement.
Melissa?
Hi, Commander Stevens. How are you?
Hey, good to see you again, Melissa.
You too. I have, well, the first question I have, do you know when they're going to vote on the license plate readers?
I know they've already gone to the second reading, I believe, and Council Lady Lee can tell me that, but it's moving on to the third, and it will be, how soon will that be?
I am not sure because I almost thought that we had gone through the third, that we had done that. I had put something on my Facebook page when we had the vote. I believe I abstained on one vote and I got up and talked during it to say that I had talked to my officers in the area and they were very much for it. But I have gotten mixed views back from my emails from my constituents. So I want to say, I thought it had already gone through. So if it has not, then it's up for the third reading and it should be on the next time because it was not referred.
Sorry, I think John put a message there that it did pass. Oh, I look into it, but I do support it. But my second question is, Commander Stevens. And it might not be something that you can answer, but thinking about it, we have the budget for the new precinct here on Murfreesboro Pike. But since we're not using it, some of that budget covered officers. Am I correct? Like the budget included hiring officers. I don't know if you know
Correct.
that.
Yeah, they
Okay.
do. You have to have a certain number of officers. So every budget
Okay.
year, we ask for, I think it may be 22,
Okay.
3 years in a row. So we are starting to budget. And I do know those plans are moving forward. I was in a meeting yesterday that I'll probably be sitting on that board just to help with planning what the precinct will look like, but that's full steam ahead.
Well, but what I hear from other people is that is not gonna happen anytime soon, maybe 2023 or so.
That's
So
realistic.
can they just hire the officers? I know there's a shortage on people that want to be an officer, but couldn't they hire as many as they can and put, like assign them to the South
Oh, bring 'em.
precinct?
Oh,
And
hey,
then,
that's my vote. That is my vote. So
like use the money already that is there for what it is, and then people can move to the other precinct, because we do need more police officers, and it's just not only for crime. I think people are driving around and just throwing their garbage because nobody's there to stop them, and I'm not gonna do it. So I think we do need help. We need, the city looks like trash. It's just trash everywhere. So that's my comment. It's just sad to see it like this.
well, I mean, and we see when we start looking for trash, we see some trash, but I can tell you, I've been to other big cities and our city really is, it's a safe city compared to how big we are. And we are a clean city. Now, I think it's all of our job to make sure that we work together to continue to help clean up our city. But police wise, we have around 400 patrol officers. We truthfully, a city our size, we need to have 800 patrol officers, just patrol. That doesn't count detectives and all the specialized units and investigators. But we need to have around 800 because we have over 1 million people that come to Nashville a day. So that's who we should be counting. That's our number we need to police. So we need to have the appropriate number of officers. I can tell you Chief Drake has beefed up our recruitment section. The training academy is more staff than it's ever been. So we're running overlapping classes. We're running classes with laterals from other police officers that allows us to actually put them through the police academy shorter, and then they don't have to be with the FTO for 6 months. So there's a lot that we're doing. We're moving forward, but yeah, we do have to get to the number that the council has approved, 1,510 police officers. We have to get to that number before we ask for more money and for more officers. So we're moving in the right direction, but I honestly feel like, our department is stressing that patrol has to be the priority, and we are moving that direction. So thank you.
Thank you.
For your
Thank you
question.
so very much. I will say that one of the things when I talked once before wasn't that we aren't hiring, is that getting those folks to apply. So I will say you all can help that out as well. If you know some people who may be interested, ask them to apply to our beautiful city. And I have somebody on here that's going to tell you where to call and help on the trash issue as well. So can we go to Mr. Penn now?
All right, it's a pleasure to be here and to speak with you all this evening. I think most all of you are probably fairly familiar with the codes department and what we do, so I won't take up a lot of time talking about that. I will tell you just a few things. One is we've hired 3 new inspectors to fill some vacancies that we had. They're young guys, very energetic, very excited about the opportunity. So I believe that's going to really be an asset to help us to deal with the issues that we're facing out there. One other thing that has happened, we had a vendor who handled our abandoned vehicles, and that vendor is no longer able to support that program. So right now, we don't have a vendor for abandoned vehicles. So if they're out there, you can report them, but we may not be able to do any more than send a letter to the owner of the vehicle, but after that, we don't have the ability to have the vehicle towed from the right of way. So just be aware of that if those issues like that come up in your neighborhood. We're hoping to get these new folks trained up, because as soon as the spring hits, we know that high grass and weeds will start to be an issue, and we want to be on top of that. One other thing that has happened in Nashville that kind of relates to housing and what have you is that the codes department has broken another record for value of building permits again this year. So the boom is still continuing, and we're hoping that there'll be more affordable housing out there that gets built, because we see that as a need. We see quality rental properties as being a need, affordable rental properties. So because that has really kind of impacted what we do, in that we have a lot of folks who are still having to occupy what we consider to be substandard housing, and that takes up quite a bit of our time. But we're trying our best to make sure we stay on top of that, to make sure that we get people in to try to get these landlords to take care of their properties and to upgrade as necessary to make sure they're code compliant. So if you have, I'm available for questions. If there are things in the neighborhood that you want to bring to my attention related to the codes or zoning, I'd be happy to field those questions.
Yes, sir. A couple of things that I wanted you to share, and you just did that about the old cars, the type of things that people can contact you for.
Sure.
And they can do it through the hub, because sometimes they don't know where to go for what. Thank you, sir.
Gotcha. Okay. Yes, there are a number of ways to submit a request to us. There's the old-fashioned way of picking up the telephone and calling the codes department. We take them by phone. Some people actually come down and visit us. We appreciate that. Always good to see our citizens. But the Nashville hub, if you're not familiar with that, I encourage you to get familiar with that. It's on the Metro website on the front page. When you log on to the Metro website, there's a link there, and that really is been a very helpful tool for us. It helps us to get things processed a lot faster. So when you see that, if you have something, that click on that link and complete the form that they have. It walks you through the various process, identifies, you have to identify the location and the type of violation, and they even have violation types broken down so that you can pick whatever is going to be most appropriate for the issue that you're having. But I really want to encourage folks to use that, because what happens is when that hub complaint gets entered, it automatically gets transferred to the codes department, and we're able to get that into our complaint system so that we can get an inspector out to make that inspection. And that's our goal, is to make sure that we get inspectors out as quickly as we can in order to address the issues that are occurring within the community. But like I said, the hub is now, the Nashville hub is now our primary means of accessing the property maintenance division and turning in requests. We do still, of course, for those who don't have internet, take them by phone, or you could even email. You can email me or email the department, and we get it that way as well.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions? Okay.
Bill, what is the status of the hearings, the property standards hearings, where you have people come down and plead their case and either fish or cut bait on enforcing and going to the next step and so forth? Have those resumed yet?
Are you talking about the appeals board, or are you talking about environmental court?
The appeals board.
Okay, we're trying to have an appeals board meeting in February. It's probably going to be via Zoom. I'm not sure yet. If we can secure a large enough room, then we'll do it live with everybody there. But that February, the first Wednesday in February is our goal. And we should be getting info out here very quickly about that. If in fact we can even put that together, but that's our goal, is to start back up in February.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you again, sir, very much. And this one I think may take a little time, but we are going to, let's go on and move to planning. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Council Lady. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is George Rooker, and I am with the Planning Department. To give a little overview about redistricting, it is the regular redrawing of district lines after each census every 10 years to balance the population of those districts. In Nashville, that responsibility is given by the charter to the Planning Department. We experienced generally growth in all areas of the county, but in some areas, population growth occurred at a much greater rate than others. And just generally speaking, north of the Cumberland River in the northern part of the county, population growth was much slower than it was in the southern part of the county. And the areas that experienced the most growth were the downtown area and the southeast. So we had to redraw those districts to make them essentially the same size in terms of the population of those districts. The easiest way to do that, and the way that we chose to do that, that impacted the fewest number of people, and it was actually kind of surprising to me after we got to looking at it, but we moved Council District 8, which was in Madison previously, to the southeast, which seems like a pretty dramatic change, but it actually impacted fewer people than it did if we tried to just redraw, make gradual changes as we move south and redraw those district lines. So that's what we chose to do. We have essentially the district, there's detailed district information, and your district lines are available for you to take a look at redistricting.nashville.gov. So anybody who wants to take a closer look at it can go to redistricting.nashville.gov. It's a little hard to just explain verbally the boundaries, but I'll do my best. In District 33, the northern boundary is just north of Tusculum Road. It goes up to Cimarron Way. Generally speaking, on the eastern boundary, the western boundary is Blue Hole Road and Burkett Road. The southern boundary is the county line, and the eastern boundary, for the most part, is I-24. So I encourage everybody to go out and look at the website, and you can see not only the map, but you can see the population numbers and all the details about the districts. There was one change that in particular that occurred with District 33, which was brought to the Planning Department and commissioned by Councilmember Stiles, who requested that Century Farms be moved back into her district, because originally we had it in District 33. That request was made on the basis of the fact that the entitlements for that property, or the zoning of that property, was already in place. It had already been done, wasn't likely to change, and to coordinate the development of that area with the Hickory Hollow Mall area, which is also in her district. Our staff reviewed that request, believed it was a reasonable request, presented it to the commission, and the commission adopted it. So that's.
So I have a question. Would you explain, please, because I know when I was first told about the district and I did a ride around with it, all of that was included in there. So when that was taken out because of the request of the representative, how then does the district go? Does it just not go up in that corner where all of that is? Does it keep straight? What happens? And then what did you add back to 33 since you took all of those from 33?
Well, the impact of the change didn't affect the population, because there are no people that live in that area. That census tract that includes Century Farms has 0 population. So it did not impact the population balance. So it could have gone in either district and not impacted the population balance. So that determination was made based on the what I just referenced about the logic behind having it in one district or the other. Essentially, the boundary, what was taken out is everything to the east of, it's a pretty simple boundary. It goes from between Cane Ridge Road and I-24. And that was what was taken out of 33.
So none of that on Cane Ridge Road is in 33 any longer.
Everything to the, make sure I get this right, everything to the east of Cane Ridge Road over to I-24 is no longer in District 33. But everything that abuts Cane Ridge Road and to the west is still in District 33.
Okay, so Tawana, and I see your hand too. This is what I'm trying to get straight, because there are a lot of apartments, a lot of things going over there in that Century Farms area. So I understand that just went up like, whoo. So that may not have been in the census, but that is a whole lot of population that is going to be there. And so are you saying, I'm trying to get, and Tawana, you may help me explain it, because you know how I am with maps, but that whole area, when you are on, yeah, Rosie, we'll go ahead, because we don't know if he's on there. Hopefully, if he's listening to us, he'll speak up when he gets there. Go ahead, Tawana.
Well, he actually got dropped now, so hopefully he'll log back in. Couple of people. Councilwoman Lee, what I wanted to say while we're waiting on him to hopefully join back and answer this, it appears to me that only Century Farms got removed from the new boundaries of District 33. And several community members have talked about that. And I can't think of another time that power in progress stayed with a council member as their district boundaries changed. And it just really seems like it was all about the potential power and control. It is completely illogical to have that little boop sticking out there that goes with the district. And to your point about population in it, it is going to have an enormous population, and it will tilt the figures in the future. So just as a constituent, even though they passed it, and Mr. Rooker, maybe shake your head so we know you're back. You're back. Okay. You were frozen.
Sorry, I got kicked out for a minute.
Yeah, it just, it doesn't seem logical, and apparently it's in the past, but from the community side of things, people aren't really buying the reasons that it happened.
Right.
It just seems like a power thing. Thank you.
I agree with you, Tawana, and I will tell you, I just found out from actually my former council person telling me I had been put back in. Of course, I wasn't on every little change and looking at that, but when they rode me around and we had the meeting with them, I was under the impression that, well, this is the best we can do. We've changed everybody. This is the cleanest lines we can do. So this is how it's got to stay. When I asked about some more people that were being taken out, put back in mind, and nothing could be done, but yet this was done. And I will tell you, there are some other council people who moved to an area that now is having a big growth and some stuff done, they didn't stay in that area where they had things going on. If they moved to another one, then they moved to another one, and that was done. So this was kind of peculiar to me, how this was done. Maybe I didn't yell and curse enough, I don't know. Are there other people who have specific questions to Mr. Roker about where the lines are or how it's being drawn? I see a hand, I think, with Ed. I don't see any other hands.
George, I know that a lot of your guiding principles in where the lines are drawn have to do with population and demographics and being sure everybody has approximately the same number of people in their districts within certain percentage swings and so forth. But I don't want to get too far out of this district, but for instance, 19 now jumps the river and includes the East Bank. And I would imagine part of that was because of the East Bank updated the plan and wanting downtown and East Bank to work together. So a district line was changed for planning department reasons, to call it something. And I'm wondering, down in an area like this that has infrastructure issues and different council people need to work together and so forth, do things like that enter into your decision in terms of thinking of future road work and TDOT relationships and water and sewer and some of those other things where you're going to have to work with people over the years? Or is it, apart from 19, pretty much population demographic driven?
That's a great question, Ed. Their population is the #1 driving factor in drawing the district lines. It's the one thing that we have to achieve and accomplish. We look at a lot of other things as well. We try to keep districts in as much as possible in historically similar areas. With the exception of District 8, in this round, most of the districts are at least in a similar area where they were before. And then there's always the relationship between that you mentioned, and it's part of the same logic, I think, that drove the staff to the conclusion that Century Farms is better placed with Hickory Hollow, because there's going to be a lot of development considerations that are going to be, just as you mentioned, similar, like downtown East Bank. And it becomes a question of whether or not it's easier to manage that growth and that development and coordinate with all the other government agencies that are involved, like TDOT and others, when you're trying to manage areas that are about to really change dramatically. And rightly or wrongly, and there's a variety of views on that, even from planners, about what's the appropriate thing to do. Some people would argue that it's better to put them in with the communities that are adjacent to them, and then others argue that it's better you have a better situation and a more manageable situation when you try to include similar areas together if possible. But you can only do those things when the population numbers work. And we do have to use, by law, the population numbers that are in the census. We can't look forward to what's going to happen going down the road. We can't look backwards. We have to actually use the data that was provided to us by the U.S. Census Department. So, there are a lot of good points on both sides of the argument, and I understand, I think, everybody's argument, and they all make some sense. There's no question about it. There's no clear answer to this, but our planners made a decision that was based on in this case, because the population was not really important at this moment in time, because there isn't really any population there to speak of. But they did make that determination based on all the facts and the situations that we've just been discussing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tawana, I will say I agree with you. It was a power thing as well, because I was told something else about why things were chosen. And if any of you are on the other side of 24, the Hamilton Church going towards Murfreesboro Road, Mount View, any of that area on that side of 24, where we have worked hard trying to get stoplights and trying to let them know how important it is to change the infrastructure and all of that, you will no longer be in 33. You had a question, Tawana?
I just wanted to make a follow-up comment for Mr. Rooker's consideration. I want to ask you to consider this in the future. By having that as kind of a hanging chad out there in District 32, it allows the community to be cut off from having any input regarding a development that is having a tremendous impact. That development affects the Cane Ridge community, and Century Farms is still part of the historical Cane Ridge community, whether they like it or not. But by changing the boundary, it will allow it to be pretty well cut off from a large part of the voice. And then I just wanted to real quickly say too, before you jump off, if I remember the time that you have in, and Bill Penn, who I haven't seen in ages, and Mr. Honeysucker, and when Commander Stevens was here, I think there's like 150 years of experience in this room. So it's quite a lot of experience, and it's good to still see familiar faces around. Thank you.
Okay, time is going down. I will make one other comment before I go to Mr. Honeysucker, and that is also what was changed a lot was the diversity of District 33. I'm surprised nobody brought that up, but that was changed a lot. And one of the things that really troubled me in the look of our community, but that's okay. More people are moving in. So we will see what we will get, and we will have a beautiful community. Mr. Honeysucker?
I'm here. I'm multitasking as I normally am. I'm actually in 2 community meetings, 32 and 33. So, you know, I'm just doing what I love to do best. But thank you so much, Council Lady Lee, for inviting me, and to the family of the district. As always, I'm always honored to be a part of the community meeting. I do want to give you all some exciting news. February the 1st, Recycle will be back. So that's a yay and a smile and a handshake and a smile. But also I do want to share with you, we still have challenges out there with the Red River update. Red River they're currently in bankruptcy. We're still fighting to get them to do what they're supposed to do. Is that being done? No, they're still missing. I'm still getting complaints and calls. And please, I definitely need everyone to reach out and call into the hub to let us know if they have missed your route or missed picking up at your place, because we're keeping a record of that, because we have to submit that into our legal staff. So that is something that is actively ongoing each and every time. But we are excited about the fact that we're getting the Recycle back in place on February the 1st. If there's anything that I can do to support this district and any other district that neighbors up, or any district that is, please feel free to email me, contact Council Lady Lee, let her know, and I'll be more than happy to help out any way I can, whether it be related to trash, recycle, or anything related to water, and anything I can do to support NDOT also. I'm still an active part of trying to help and make sure I support them, because we all work together. So with that being said, Council Lady Lee, I don't want to prolong it. Any questions you might have for me?
What I do want to say publicly in front of everybody, I want to thank you so very much for what you do. I heard how during the holiday, you were out there on the weekend picking up the trash all around the recycling areas. You were out there on a Sunday picking that up yourself, not sitting back telling people. You never tell people to do something you won't do yourself. So you got out there out of your home and went out there and did that. And so I want to just say in front of everybody, we really appreciate you. You always come on, give me answers. If I have to go find out something, you are my go-to person. You're wonderful. And I think people need to tell people they're wonderful while they can hear it instead of afterwards later. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so, so much. And just let me know if I can do anything to help. I'm gonna jump off and jump back on because I have to speak here again. Thank you again.
I will. I believe, Diana, you are going to talk about specifically lots of things, but specifically that doggone light that we have been waiting for like about 3 years to have. So I am going to turn it over to you and Brad now.
So good evening. How are you doing this evening, everyone, council member? So I am embarrassed to say I do not know what light you're talking about. So I apologize. I'm day 11 on the job. So, but I will dig into this.
And I'm sorry, I was given the message. It was the light at Hamilton Church and Mount View Road that was in the works. That things were moving on, but it hadn't been moving to the point where it was actually going up. I think you all got permission to get some of the land or whatever you had to do, but there was a holdup in that. And so that was specifically one of the things that we wanted to talk about.
So I'm embarrassed to say, council member, that this is not on my radar at this moment, but it is now that you have raised it to me. And so right now we do not have, I'm going to dig in with our folks on the right-of-way acquisition, as you mentioned, to find out if we're moving on it, and also if we have it in our funding program. But I apologize. I thought I pretty much had most of the projects that are supposed to be ongoing briefed to me, and this is not ringing a bell, but it will ring a bell very quickly.
Yeah, that's no problem. I believe somebody named Mr. Fields was supposed to talk to you about it. So we will just save that for the next meeting and have somebody to do that and ask you to carry on with what you have for us.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. One of the things that we actually did have an opportunity today was to do a public forum on our Vision Zero initiative that we are kicking off. We have actually have a working plan that we shared with the community today and got some really great questions and feedback. We'll be diving in a little bit deeper to come up with a five-year action plan that will help us work to getting toward zero fatalities and serious crashes that are occurring on our serious injuries and crashes occurring on our roadways. And a lot of that's going to be looking at how, again, we've already moving forward with our traffic calming plan. Just want to remind everybody who's on the call, we're actually taking applications for new traffic calming initiatives through January 29th. So if you're interested, please go to our website and it's available there. You can pull it up and fill it out and get it to us. We did, start on this whole initiative of traffic calming with over 244 applications in. We're currently implementing and executing 25 neighborhoods in the traffic calming plan. We're looking to add another 25. So every year we're going to do 50 until we can get the backlog. That's what our community wants moving forward. And traffic calming is anything from the consideration of chicanes, which kind of create a meandering road, are also some build outs that are going to tighten up the curbs that make people move slower as they turn the curb. Also, we're going to be looking at maybe even some street gate can be part of that, as well as also speed humps, what we call them speed tables here. So there's a lot of different, elements in the toolbox that we can consider for traffic calming. So we're super excited about that. Some of the things we're also building in for our traffic calming as well is consideration of complete streets. So Mayor and Council a few years back actually adopted guiding principles on complete streets. So we're brushing off that policy and we're going to rebring that back to the table, really look at getting the design manual pulled together so that we can share that across all departments and talk about really creating great streetscape and safety on the road as we actually execute and bring out our Vision Zero. And Vision Zero is really important. It applies to every street within the city. And it's really about a different conversation we have to where we're all acting a little bit different on the roadway. Everybody's responsible. It's actually based on, how we're designing the roads and what we can do to design the roads to make it safer for all modes. It's also about how we can educate people and what that campaign needs to look like from the different perspectives of what modes are actually having the most crashes and serious injuries. We identified our high injury network. So we're going to really come out of the box targeting the high injury network. We're going to look for that high that high cost to make those design improvements, as well as the low hanging fruit. We also are going to continue to work with the different nonprofit agencies on the encouragement piece of how we can work with those folks and get out and do some bike rides, teach some bike safety, bike rodeos, those kind of things. Also about pushing the stoplight, but also driver safety program as well. So I'm actually currently going through the driver defensive course that I have to take here at being a new employee with Metro Nashville. And I have to tell you, it's a great reminder of how we're supposed to be behaving on the road. So got my head thinking about how we can wrap that into our Vision Zero program. And of course, we're always evaluating how we're doing everything and how we can do it better. And then the last piece of that is, is going to be the enforcement piece. We'll be working really close with Metro Nashville's police department on that. And really, it's not just about invoicing and penalizing folks, but it's also about when we're enforcing, we're also educating or using enforcement as a way of educating. So some great conversations going to be happening. Really want the community engaged in this, and we're super excited about all of these opportunities we can be doing moving forward. So a lot of things happening quick within our department, and some exciting things, some build outs we're going to be doing through our traffic calming program. And I look forward to bringing a lot more forward to the community as well as to mayor and the council. So thank you. And I will dive into that traffic signal.
So very much. And there was a question here about a Vision Zero only. I don't want to touch this again, it'll mess up, but it was asking, it doesn't deal with Murfreesboro Road or Hobson. Maybe you can see the question over in the chat.
Yeah, so Vision Zero is looking at every road. It does also look at the state roads, which is why our continued partnership with TDOT is so important. Especially on the high injury networks that we've identified. So Old Hickory, I can tell you, we actually have an initiative going out on the Old Hickory Boulevard, but it'll look at everything. It's not taking anything off the table. And that's what's so great about Vision Zero. It's about looking at the road, identifying what modes we want on that road, and making sure that as we're discussing it as a community about that road, we're prioritizing which mode is going to have the best priority, and that we build it safely. So if bike lanes are going to be the priority on a particular roadway, and we're prioritizing that, we're going to design to that prioritization so the person utilizing that pathway is going to feel very comfortable and very safe, and is not going to feel like they have to worry about someone doing 70 miles an hour going past them. So it's really looking at all of the elements, all the modes. And it's also about making sure right now car crashes are leading in the number of deaths and serious injuries that occurring. That was shared with us right off the start. I kind of gasped when I heard about that crash that occurred. Breaks my heart. We want to also make sure that we're working on that, so we're reducing that. So we're getting to those parents and saying, hey, buckle your kids up, drive safely. There's time, a rush of time is never worth a life. So really drilling that home to everyone, so that again, it's not just about bikes and pedestrians, it's about cars, it's about transits. It's also about, I want to throw in there, our planes, how we move our trains, how we move our goods, because we have a lot of goods that go through our city as well. We want all of that to move safely so it doesn't impact our quality of life, but also we're doing it safely, because our number one job is to make sure everyone gets home safely every single day. So the dog.
Thank you so very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the opportunity. My apologies again. Promise I'll be better prepared next time.
That is okay. I do believe maybe it didn't get down to you like we were told that it would. So you know who to go back and find. Oh, I will. Somebody under the bus, didn't I? Sorry. Okay.
No. It's no one ever gets thrown under the bus in my department. We will be very organized next time to have this conversation. I appreciate your patience.
Great. Are there any questions for Diane? Okay. Thank you so very much. Looks like we're doing great on time. We have a minute to go. I do want to remind you all that since we were talking about the hub, they gave you how you can go on the website and look up there in the top over on the left and click on that. But those of you that don't like to do technology stuff, you can just call 311 too. That'll get you there, but you're gonna have to go through and listen to the recording. Also, on February the 4th, so if you plan on getting your, what do you call it? When you have to go through and have your car checked before you can get your license? If you have to do that,
Conditions.
yes, on February the 5th, it will be there. It'll be finished. It'll be out. We're finished with that. So that's a good thing. I also want to remind you all that there is going to be a meeting tomorrow. It is on a development. So go on the website, on the Facebook page and take a look at that. My next meeting like this, what I call the division like community meeting, is going to be probably sometime in April. I don't have a date on it yet. But if you know a particular department that you want to hear from, or you have specific questions of, then email me that and copy Roseanne on it, please. We will make sure that they are there and given the questions so that they can prepare to answer that. Okay, it says I have a new message. I'm trying to get to it. Can the two candidates do a 1-minute introduction? No, they can introduce themselves. This was not for a political type thing, but I would like them just to say their names and what they're running for. I have some candidates on here. I know one is Pastor Jones, because he's got his big sign all up there in the back of him. So we'll let him say his name, what he's running for. And Ms. Kimbrough, I suppose you will be the second one. So instead of a long introduction, I will ask if you'll just say your name and what you're running for. And thank you for being on here with us.
Council Lady, thank you very much. Howard Jones, I'm running for Circuit Court Clerk. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for being on with us. Ms. Kimbrough, you're the other one, correct?
Yes. Hi, I'm Robin Kimbrough Hayes, and I'm running for General Sessions Court Judge Division 5.
Great. Do I have any other candidates that need to introduce themselves?
This is Rod Wright. I'm the campaign manager for Glenn Funk, running for district attorney re-election. I was here to support as well.
Okay, thank you for being on here with us. Do I have any others? All right, everybody, looks like we're only 3 minutes over. You all have a wonderful night. Thank you again so very much for coming on this. And hope you heard some good information. Thank you, and thank you all my presenters. Have a good night. Bye.